Good evening, Warband. Do you not see me? What about now? Perhaps now? Yep, I'm your official debut as a VTuber. Behold, a new era. uh, so hopefully everything here works as intended. Uh, oh, yeah, yeah. We got boots. We got pants. That should be operational. Hmm. Honestly, chat should be pulling off, should be popping up to the side here. That's annoying. Well, that's strange. But yeah. Ah, it is annoying me that chat is not popping up there. Ran a test stream on the other set version of this, and that worked fine. I don't get why this one isn't. Well, then we'll just pop over to the other ones so we can see what everybody's saying. At least we should be able to see what everyone's saying. Go the extra mile to try to get it all operational, and then of course there's glitches. But we are here, and it is operational. It's appearing in the lower corner for the test stream, so I don't get why it's not showing up for this one. Disappointing. Oh, wait, no, there we go. Now I'm seeing some stuff popping up in chat. There's some weird delays. Weird delays going on here, guys. Well, we're going to have to figure it out little bit by little bit. But for the moment, at the very least, we've got it somewhat operational. Everyone watches a VTuber now of some sort. Well, you'd be a PNG tuber for a while. And then you start to go, no, it would be better to have just a little bit of interaction. But hey, I watch enough VTubers, or at least clips of VTubers. I was like, you know what? Let's at least get this going. So I spoke with Black Locust, same guy who did Manix. I dropped him a bunch of cash, and well, here we are. I think he did good. I think he did good. We'll find adjustments, but hey, we got full head rotation, tilt action, and we've got a few other features. Like, for example, when I'm playing Conan, my avatar does not have a beard. Well, my avatar has a beard. This does not. Or does it? That's right. I can get a beard whenever I want now. And since we can have a little more emotional variety, because just being a pure talking head isn't that fun. Yeah. Yeah, we got a little bit of extra, a little extra here and there. VTuber chats. Hey, chats, save up a bit. Get those shekels rolling in. Plan out your character model with them. It can happen. Oh yeah, all right. We're actually getting it. We're getting the messages through now. Okay. So there's some kind of weird delay on when chat messages go through, but at the very least they are going through. Don't let it be a Murphy beard. Don't worry, chat. Well, I got the beard and the mustache separately. So, I can be an 80s action hero, or I can be a Civil War action hero. Uh, Project Black, possible to get in touch with me, usually via Discord. Most of the time, people reach out to me offline via Discord. I do have an email. It might be in the channel description. If not, I'll update it after the stream. And honestly, depending on the complexity of a VTuber model, they can be simple to set up. But I had this one commissioned because I'm short on time as it is. All right, well, so it's good to see that this is operational, but I'm sure that y'all aren't just here to hear me chat about the VTuber model. There we go. Alrighty. We're not just here for the VTuber, though. We're also here for this. Chronic and Ribby will probably be streaming in a couple hours, so we're going to try to burn through these before they get going. Hopefully we'll hit our quota of 3. Hopefully. So, we'll begin the segment. This is episode 12 of archived Think Before You Sleep's videos. His first mention in the title of MGTOW, which he later scrubbed. So, episode 12. What MGTOW is missing?
Yoga. Actually, for a while, my yoga teaching style was very derivative of other teachers that were quite notable. But after about 2 years or so,
I'll back up all the way to the start. Here we go.
One of the things I've strived not to do is create the same exact product that other people have created. I certainly did not do that with yoga. Actually, for a while, my yoga teaching style was very derivative of other teachers that were quite notable. But after about 2 years or so, I developed a completely unique style that people like quite a lot. Because the reality is, you can't just sit there and repeat what other people have done and expect to find success.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. Like, that is the basis of mentorship. I've been trying to figure out the timeline because, again, this is mid 2019. So, Sean, Mr. Think Before You Sleep, was like 27, 28 when he did this. I mean, I guess I wouldn't exactly know how long it takes to master the art of teaching yoga. And let's see. So he did a couple years of school. Let's assume that his yoga teaching career went from 21 to 27. That seems like a reasonable timeline. Might be a bit much. I'm assuming that he only had a couple years of schooling. There's no, I mean, he might have done a 4-year program in kinesiology. Can't say for sure. But trying to branch out and be unique is why some people straight up fail. Like, the reason to emulate people who've come before you is because they found success. Yeah, you don't copy someone who failed. You copy someone who succeeded. Now, circumstances will, of course, change. So you can't duplicate exactly what someone did under different circumstances and necessarily expect positive results. But you're more likely to find success copying someone who was successful rather than just trying to wing it yourself and figure it all out as you go along. We'll keep going. Not even 30 seconds in, but again, I can't just let it play.
Since this is a MGTOW / male style channel, you might have seen that show Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super or GT or whatever.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, Chaz. I can't wait to see how triggered you're gonna get with what he says next.
Iteration of that show you want to see. But if you watch the original Dragon Ball, and which is about this character named Goku, Goku is a very, very strong kid. Now, Goku has all these powers and he creates all these friends, and his friends are always trying to catch up. But if you watch the show, every time Goku does something great, like he climbs a really big tower, he unblocks this mountain spring, he does all these great things, and he becomes very powerful from it, people see that and they say, wow, this is what Goku did to become stronger, so we're going to do the exact same thing. And because they train themselves like that, they are always behind.
We'll let him finish. Let him finish getting around the point, and then we'll get into it. Kind of thankful I'm not collabing with Chaz right now, because yeah, here we go.
And they're always severely behind because they're not the ones innovating. They're not the ones playing on an equal playing field. Once something's been done once, it's time to figure out something new. That's how you create a hero. The hero is a person who does not follow in everybody else's footsteps. They learn some of the traditions of the past and they create their own path from that. So now that comes to talking about Mig.
Okay, so that's the thing with the anime. That's the thing. Okay. Well, first off, we can look at Krillin. Krillin did not train after Goku. Krillin trained literally at the same time as Goku. Goku did not get all of his strength purely from his training. He was not born a normal human. Just under Dragon Ball, he was already kind of weird because he had the monkey tail and turned into the ape. Heck, without any formal training, he survived getting shot. Pretty sure episode 1 he got shot and he was fine. So okay, we're bringing Chaz in. We're gonna bring Chaz in, if only to roast this Goku bit, because he's our resident expert. All right, where are you? There we go. All right, we're bringing in an expert, guys. We're calling in the auxiliaries.
This beta, this skinny little yoga boy thinks he can dissect the meaning and themes of Dragon Ball. Like, Goku is a Saiyan. Like, I'm not trying to sound too leftist here, but he was born with extra shit to work with. He has Saiyan genes. Literally every time he's almost dead, he gets a power boost. Right?
Yeah, but even under, that's the thing, like Dragon Ball Z introduced the Zenkai and whatnot, and even introduced the Saiyans. Even just going back to Dragon Ball, like Goku wasn't always the strongest. Heck, initially, early on, Yamcha had him on the ropes. Were it not for...
No joke. Most of the fights Goku wins, he wins by the skin of his teeth, or because he trained hard. His fight with Tao Pai Pai, he got Dodon Raid, and if the Dragon Ball wasn't on his heart, he would have died. And after nearly dying, he trained with Korn, and then the rematch, he kicked the grenade back at him. He didn't even kill him. And the Demon King Piccolo fight, all his limbs were broken. It's just at the very last second, he flew up in the air and headbutted Piccolo. That was like a near miss kind of win. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, but then again, but comparing to the other characters, well, let's look with the Saiyan saga. He went training with King Kai. Why? He was the only one who was dead and even had that option. Everyone else had a completely different training program with Mr. Popo during that time period.
Yeah, it's just... What point is he trying to make?
Well, he's trying to make the point that if you emulate success, then you'll always be behind successful people. But when has that ever actually been a thing with Dragon Ball?
No, okay, Krillin's fight with Chaozu, he only won it because he tried to do what Yamcha did, fire off a Kamehameha. And he saw, if Yamcha could do it, I can do it too. He replicated what Yamcha tried to do, and even though Yamcha failed, Krillin managed to outthink Chaozu and succeed.
Yeah, and then, comparing it, again, Goku, like, all the time, Goku has had completely different circumstances. With Namek, he was delayed going to Namek because of his injuries, and thus he was able to train in 100 times Earth's gravity on the way to Namek. The other ones didn't do that because, oh, hey, well, they didn't think that there'd be freaking Frieza and aliens and the Ginyu Force and Vegeta there. Nah, they were just going to what they thought was a perfectly fine alien planet to try to wish their friends back.
Yeah.
So, Goku's been a step ahead of the curve on the training. Well, in that time it was a fluke, but he knew he had to prepare and train.
And also, Vegeta's whole thing is that when Goku told him, "Oh yeah, I trained under 100 times Earth gravity," Vegeta then did the same thing. And what happened after Vegeta started training like Goku? He got Super Saiyan.
Yeah, well, he didn't just train like Goku. He surpassed Goku's original training.
Yeah, it's just, you gotta look at what people do and if it works, you know? And you gotta think about it. Okay, this bodybuilder over here, what's his training regimen? 5 days a week, lots of reps. Let's say it's a 5x5 kind of set, right? He's just repping it out. And then if you try to rep it out as well, but with lower weights, you're gonna see results. You gotta look at what people are doing right. Like, great. You're watching a pro fighting game player. Like, right now, you're just a button-mashing scrub. You don't know what you're doing. But then you see a pro player, and you look at what he is doing. And then you think, what is he doing that I'm not? He is thinking about his buttons. He's punishing what the opponent is trying to do. And he's just playing well. You replicate that, and you're going to get better.
Yeah, you might not entirely understand why they're doing everything the way that they're doing, but you understand, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'll at least imitate this until I understand better when to do it. Like, for me, a huge advantage that I have in like tabletop wargaming right now is I watched a professional do Total War Warhammer 2 campaign saves, and one thing that I learned from him was, if there's a very powerful unit on the field that you can't take out, don't try to take it out. Instead, focus on the entire rest of the board. Deal with the rest of the army.
I haven't played many tabletop games. I haven't played Warhammer at all. So
yeah, well,
sorry if that goes over.
Think about it in terms of like a fighting move. Like, if you know that there's a move that like you can't parry because the frame count is too low, you don't try to parry it and just overcome it with skill or raw power. You instead dodge, fall back, or try to outzone the opponent rather than getting in range of it.
Elden Ring. The opponent the boss is doing a big Unga Bunga combo. You could try to run in and dodge every attack, or you could just run away and then wait for it to, stop. Is that kind of what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like fall back. Like, when you see something that is nearly impossible, if not impossible, to deal with, you just avoid it. And you instead deal with everything else. Like, maybe you don't take out the big guy right away. Maybe you take out all the little guys first.
Take out the Cybermen before you deal with Nappa.
Yeah, precisely.
Gotcha. So yeah, if you want to keep playing his video, go ahead. It's just he had the audacity to drop Dragon Ball. I swear, if he mentions Yamcha in a negative light at all, I will screech.
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't think he's gonna bring back Dragon Ball again. That was just to make a point that he very poorly understands.
Actually, if I remember correctly, in one of his videos, he brought up a point where, as the series went on, Goku's rivals started to change, and they became kind of irrelevant. It started with Yamcha, then it kind of moved on to Tien, then to Piccolo, then to Vegeta and stuff like that. And each subsequent one became less and less relevant over the story. I don't remember the exact point he was trying to make, but I mean, he's right about that. It sucks.
Well, yeah, but that's the writing and the marketing. Like a huge part of why so many Saiyans kept showing up and keep showing up is because they have multiple forms and you can sell a different toy for every single form.
Yeah, exactly. Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 10. It's just so much. God forbid. Sai made the perfect point. God forbid they give the humans and Piccolo the Kaioken. Why not, right?
Yeah.
We love Dragon Ball. Gray, why can't they do the maximum Kaioken? Kaioken times 100. For like a minute, they can keep up with the Saiyans. In all honesty, that would be a really good way to keep the humans like relevant, to where for a minute they can fight just as strong as them, but it's a specific time. Okay, I'm getting too fanboy with my stupid fan fiction. I don't want to. I'm like, okay, you know what? The stream's not about Dragon Ball. It's about think before you simp. So
Yeah, but
stop.
Yeah, no, we'll hop on your discussion to talk about theory crafting and
Yo, great. Just hop on my next Dragon Ball Fighter stream and we'll get that going. But so
Absolutely.
do you want to share your screen with me so I can watch the video with you, or?
Normally I like to do these solo just so that I can
So-
hammer through them real fast.
Hey,
But if he
hey,
brings
you know-
but if
Hey,
he
you know
brings
what? Yeah.
if he
Well,
brings
hey,
up
man.
Dragon Ball again though, then yeah, I'll bring
Hey.
you on every time he brings up Dragon Ball.
Nah, in all honesty, I do have to get a lot of housework done tonight. I did my 4-hour 1K special stream, so
Yeah.
I've got a lot catching up to do. But Gray, it's always fun to talk about Dragon Ball with another nerd. But you know, it's always fun to roast Think Before You Simp. Such a classic. I cannot believe this guy watched Dragon Ball and didn't instantly get the urge to start lifting. I cannot fathom that, right?
Well, just because he got the urge doesn't mean he committed to it.
Right.
One afternoon of working out does not a bodybuilder make.
Okay, hey Gray. Earlier in this week, I kind of hurt my left knee trying to do some squats. I did not stretch beforehand, and I've learned my lesson. It wasn't like my knee popped out of its socket and now I have a cast. No, it hurt a bit. Felt a small little pop, but the next day got the ice pack, was chilling, right? But I still had to go to the gym. And what did I do? I did decline bench to not put a lot of pressure on my legs, right? They're just up in the air. I did a lot of sitting arm exercises. I got a lift in, even though my left knee wasn't at 100%, because I did other shit. If you really want it, Gray, you're gonna do it, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, you have a. Oh yeah, go
no,
ahead.
no. Like I cranked out this VTuber interface stuff just today, and it's
I got
actually
this-
operational. So
I gotta say, it looks good, and the fact that you have different expressions and you can add a beard, that's a good amount of production value, I must say.
yeah, and for the price, like Locust gave me a really good deal. So
Awesome.
yeah, when you're ready for a VTuber model, 100% recommend him. But we'll get back to the main video.
Exactly. Well, hey, you guys have a great rest of your stream. Thank you, Gray, for letting me on your channel and letting me spurg about Dragon Ball.
All right, Jazz. Peace out.
Peace.
All right. So here's our resident Dragon Ball Z expert. Let's keep going.
Tao. I don't want to make this another MGTOW channel. There are shitloads of those. In fact, if you
Right now, you may not want to, but you're going to. You're gonna make it where every video for, oh geez, better part of a year is going to be all MGTOW. So, sorry, try to get more than 30 seconds before he says something else stupid.
if you take out all the periphery channels, outside of like Sandman, outside of Turnflinging Monkey, outside of DDJ, or I'm missing one, but outside of all those big channels, they've already got the MGTOW stuff covered. They've already got the female nature covered. They've already got the courts covered. They've already got what we do politically. And they've been covering that for a long time. And so I'm going to ask, because I'm naturally inclined to do this. I say, this is what's already been offered. How can I make myself different? Because I can't stand just blatantly copying other people.
Really? You can't? Hmm. Because you kind of become fairly generic and you found success in that. Also, make wood chippers great again. I could probably find a wood chipper and then toss it up on the screen. Make it part of the avatar would be one thing, but it wouldn't take much to just get a transparent PNG up here. Hmm. Not a bad idea to add. Not a bad idea. Anyway.
So here's what they're not doing. Is we have all the red pill rage videos. We have all the videos that talk about, well, reverse psychology. Here's everything you've learned as a kid. Here's how it's all not true, and here's actual nature. Kind of like in the same way, like YouTube promotes the same message, but the message that YouTube promotes is not the actual message of what their fans want. Same thing with the government. The government never acts in the interest of the people, and that can be clearly seen by, well, what happens in politics. So what they're not doing is they're not getting past the red pill rage part. They're not getting past it. How do I now live my life outside of what I thought it would be?
Really? Really? 2019. 2019. And you're saying that MGTOW channels have not gotten past the red pill rage. I'd need to go and double check because most MGTOW content has been deleted from YouTube. So it's quite difficult to determine exactly what videos were posted when. But I'm pretty sure that the whole 5 stages thing had been posted by this point. That the channels you claim to have been watching have moved beyond that point. So quite frankly, I think you're full of shit. Let's continue.
I thought I was going to get married because a lot of MGTOW are not of marrying age. A lot of MGTOW are younger than me, younger than 28. So how do I live my life with that? How do I live my life after I've lost my wife? And now I don't know if I can answer that question if you're twice my age, but hopefully some of this stuff will help. But for the most part, how do you find a place where you can still act in and have importance in the world and still make a difference with without having children, without having a wife? And I think I'm just the person to do that because I've had a
You're just the person to do that. You, a 28-year-old yoga instructor with a background in kinesiology, a vegan. You think that you are qualified to lead men out of the red pill rage and to find purpose outside of women. And then 4 years later, you switch from essay videos to live streams, get an e-thought as your girlfriend, delete your MGTOW related videos or change the titles to hide it all, and start to become more and more feminist in your messaging. And you're the one who feels qualified at this point to lead men out of the red pill rage and teach them purpose. Okay. Okay. Let's see where you're going with this, huh? Let's see.
A lot of problems in my life that I may reveal, probably not in this video because that'll take too long, but I've had a ton of setbacks, a ton of problems, a ton of issues, a ton of wasted time that's taught me a bunch of different skills, a bunch of different coping mechanisms around it. Like I know a lot about fitness and health because I used to be very unhealthy. Like I know a lot about how to eat, I know a lot about how to exercise because I used to not do those things and I had a lot of detrimental health effects.
And you know a lot about child psychology because, well, I'll leave that implication up in the air.
And finally,
But you know a lot about childhood trauma and following the pattern of why apparently you were so unhealthy you decided to go to school to learn how to be healthy. So, yeah, you knowing a lot about childhood trauma. Hmm.
why don't I just get right to it since I've already mentioned it? The reason I became a person in the fitness industry, the reason I became a yoga teacher was because I wanted to help people. Because I had such a problem struggling to get to exercise, I wanted to help find a way to simplify that for other people. And that's all I've ever done. All I've ever done is taken all the intelligence I have and try to communicate it in a simpler way that everybody else can understand.
So you think you're smarter than everyone else. You think that's the thing. Chat, you're down there. He thinks that he is smarter than his audience and needs to dumb things down and simplify it so that they can understand. So that you can understand. Okay. I'll just make this very clear to anyone who doesn't get it. If you watch the content of Think Before You Sleep, he thinks you're stupid. All right? Just making that clear.
And it almost doesn't matter how intelligent you are. Like, you could be a super, super high IQ, really intelligent person, but then someone like me comes along and hits a field that you've never seen before, and I break it down so it's so simple that anybody can understand it. Well, that's a benefit to you as well.
Oh, so smart people can listen to you too. But you're just an expert in a different field. Like someone can be really, really high IQ, but you've studied something that they need. And you think that what men need is child psychology and fitness. Yeah, look, if I want to know what yoga poses will be most beneficial for a particular injury, then sure. I'm willing to bet Sean here probably has some useful advice in that field. That's honestly probably about the only thing I'd actually go to him for, though. Well, maybe he's got something else. We're only a third of the way through this.
So what I'd like to do is talk about what I'm already good at. What I'm already good at is professionally, which is exercise. Because if you're lacking purpose, if you're depressed, if you're in that red pill rage phase or you're trying to get out of it, the best thing you can do is physical activity.
Yeah, that's an educated statement right there. You couldn't figure out that for free in 2019 on YouTube. There was nobody saying that if you're depressed, go hit the gym, get some exercise, do some push-ups, go for a run. This has the fucking pretension of a year one philosophy major. Or a freaking year one psychology student. They just learned a bunch of shit in their textbooks, and now they think they understand everyone else's problems in depth. Okay, let's keep going.
Now, if you look at how children work, and the children are the basis of adults, so if you want to find out a problem that you're having in adulthood, you always want to go back to childhood. Or if you want to find a mechanism that exists in adulthood, you might want to go back and look to children first.
Ah. Yes, his other field of expertise, child psychology. Okay, let's see where he's going, because personally, I disagree with this. Let's see, what's the term? I disagree with this trauma-based school of philosophy. I've gotten into it on a previous stream, I think. I got into one of it with Yeetus, but perhaps it's time to revisit that. I can actually formalize that. Let's keep going.
And so children learn kinesthetically, or they learn with their bodies first before they learn any sort of verbal manner. So all that stuff that's going to create a positive psychology in you has to be done with physical actions first. And so one of the best ways to get physical or actions in is to find some type of physical activity and make that a regular part of your life. Now, regular doesn't mean 6 days a week. Regular could mean once per week. Once per week is certainly better than nothing. And that's kind of the way you want to see this at first. Because when you're first starting anything that's new, anything that's better than 0 is good. Don't worry about, how fast am I going to get swole, or how fast am I going to get fit, or how fast am I going to get flexible, or how fast is it going to, or how long is it going to take me to get my goals. What you should focus on first is just doing the activity. And you'll figure the other stuff out later. And so all you have to do is more than nothing, and you will actually get better. This is a principle that applies universally. This is not just an exercise principle.
Brilliant. Brilliant advice so far, everyone. If you are currently doing nothing, start doing something. If you are currently getting no exercise, get some exercise. Yes. Yeah. By this is like, hey, I exercise 0 days of the year. If next year I exercise 1 day of the year, yes, that is technically an improvement. Once a week? Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. Like, I guess that there are people, heck, I know that there are at least a fraction of people that, sorry about that. I know that there are some people that don't exercise at all. Like, I never had that myself. Like, at the very least, like, I've done some form of exercise 3 to 5 days a week. Can't remember. Like, maybe there was, I don't know, some kind of vacation, or maybe like a low point where I didn't, but at the very least I was always out walking places. You can get a lot of steps in when you're going on foot everywhere. So I don't, like, you basically have to be able to just live entirely from home and somehow be paying for a vehicle to get you everywhere that isn't your house. I'm not even talking like going to the gym. That's one thing. Heck, like my work, I'm effectively lifting 5+ days a week. So I don't. So far, all I can come to the conclusion of this is that Sean here has a very low opinion of his audience. Anyway, let's continue.
Applies any sort of new skill you're doing, do more than nothing, and eventually, if you can stick with that, you will be able to figure out how to do more. And so my first rule of doing anything that's new, and the first rule I tell students that I have when they're creating new exercise programs, is the exercise program that you picked has to be something that you can maintain for the rest of your life. So if you're thinking right now, oh, I'm just going to do this until I get...
No. I guarantee you that the exercise program that you start doing in your 20s and 30s is not going to be the exercise program you will be capable of doing in your 70s and 80s. Even if your exercise program is a super simple, hey, I walked from the bed to the bathroom, there is no guarantee you'll be able to do that for the literal rest of your life. So, stupid advice. Beyond stupid advice. Like, a goal of being able to do it consistently for 10 years makes sense. But even then, you don't know whether you're going to move, whether you're going to lose your gym access. I'd say your best bet, if you wanted to maintain a consistent workout routine, would be to get a home gym. But if you're going to say something that I can do for the rest of my life, no. No, the only thing you can guarantee for the rest of your life that you'll be able to do consistently is nothing. So, terrible advice. Does he even realize? I don't even know if he realizes how fucking stupid that sounds when you actually think about it for more than 5 seconds. But let's keep going.
Get fit, or I'm just going to do this until I lose enough weight. You're thinking too short term. You have to exercise for the rest of your life. There's, certainly the physical benefits are going to be there, but the mental benefits are a lot stronger. And there's a lot of messages and themes you can learn from working out that come naturally to you because you're doing that. You're learning it with moving. You're communicating to your body on a very, very primal level there. And so you have to pick a program that you can maintain. And the only way you're going to do that is if you pick a program that you like. And so what I say to a lot of students is if
No, you don't have to like the program. You just have to do the program. Liking something is optional because people don't stick with things consistently because they like them. Initially, at the very least. They might grow to like them after it's become a regular routine, after they've gotten some results out of it, adjusted it into their everyday existence. Yeah, then they might grow to like it. But you're not going to like it as an initial change to your life. So, anyway, keep going. Keep going.
you hate running, you don't have to run. If you hate weightlifting, you don't have to weightlift. Do what you like. So me, I can handle weightlifting. Weightlifting is something I would do if I wasn't doing yoga because I'm more of a purist, so I only want one style of working out. You could tell.
Really? Yoga? You consider yoga to be working out? Really? You consider yoga to be working out? And you don't weightlift because you're a purist? You don't mind it? You are a vegan at this point. You're a vegan yoga instructor. I'm willing to bet at this point, fucking weightlifting is straight up beyond your abilities. And it's goddamn depressing when you go into the gym and you struggle with a 10-pound dumbbell. Like, holy shit. Okay, like, it's not even a matter of fucking time. For fuck's sakes, I was able to get a decent workout routine going in college with steady results for 3 hours a week. 1 hour a day, 3 days a week, 3 hours a week. You're telling me you can't commit 3 hours a week because you're a fucking purist of yoga? Holy fuck. God damn, that's some cap. Oh, hey, Zabidi, thanks for joining up. Oh, 6 minutes, 6 minutes. God damn.
Technically do too, so I could do both yoga and weightlifting. I just don't value weightlifting enough to do both. But if you like it, you could certainly do both. But you want to make sure it's a program that you actually do enjoy. So what that means, if you have no idea what you enjoy, then you have to try everything. Best thing you can do is sign up for a gym membership and try every single aspect of the gym. Or if you already kind of have an idea, maybe going to the gym is too much for you. Maybe you don't like going out in public, or maybe you're so busy that you don't have the time. How about you just buy a workout DVD and do that? And
Or just do some fucking push-ups. Again, like, as I've spoken multiple times with Frost, the guys in prison, they do not have access to workout equipment. mostly because it can be used to beat the shit out of other inmates. So they get on calisthenics. You can get jacked on calisthenics. There's heck, the Bioneer. Like, if you are interested in seeing just how far you can push calisthenics, I'd recommend the Bioneer and I believe Knees Over Toes guy. Like, there's options for doing the buy a workout DVD. What is this? The 80s? This is 2019 when this video is put out. There are workout channels on YouTube. There are workout channels on YouTube that are still active to this day. Freaking lift shit, dips, squats, bodyweight exercises. You don't need to spend a cent to exercise. Like, weights might get you some results faster, but if the goal is not to hit some kind of strength or muscle requirement, and you're just working out for the sake of working out, getting stronger for its own sake, you don't need fucking gym equipment. Like, admittedly, squats, I don't know, for me, they get really easy. Like, when I can casually do a century set of unweighted squats, like, okay, maybe I should be wearing something a little bit heavier than what I'm currently wearing to do this. But hey, if you can't do 100 push-ups in a row, then congratulations, you now have an objective to work towards. And there's variations on that too. I mean, heck, if you're good at doing squats with both legs, maybe try doing it with one leg. Pretty sure that's going to more than double the difficulty. Come the fuck on. We got a... Yeah, let's play this. This is good.
Or buy Warband's gym motivational course, Get Yelled by Chronic in the Morning and by Grey at Night, all of them calling you a beta.
I mean, heck, if you guys wanted that, I'd absolutely do it. I will absolutely put on some kind of generic music and just give you workout motivation for an hour straight. Tear the shit out of my vocal cords, but hey, I can rant for a couple hours on a YouTube stream. Surely I could put together some motivational workout roasting. DJ Zeg, yeah, it is familiar. You've probably seen it before, before you started deleting everything. 5 minutes, 18 seconds. Come on.
Don't buy a long one. Buy one of those 10-minute DVDs. You're not going to get a full workout in 10 minutes, but at the very least, you're doing more than nothing. And imagine you were doing nothing every single day, and then 3 times a week, you put 10 minutes on the table. You put 10 minutes down. That's 30 minutes per week, and that's enough to get you started. And the reason you don't want to go too heavy at first, because a lot of times people have really unrealistic expectations when they're starting out a new program. Like, a lot of times people will show up to a yoga class and they're going to say, I should be able to do splits my first week. If I can't do splits, then I am a failure.
I'm willing to bet that given that this isn't the first time he's mentioned this particular case, this isn't the first, this actually happened. He probably had to console somebody. And keep in mind, as a yoga teacher, you need your students to continue renewing their memberships. So there's a decent chance that someone thought that they'd legit be able to do splits in a very short period of time. In a week? A week. No. Hey, Chris998, welcome. A week? That's beyond ridiculous. But whatever, he's going to keep bringing it up because, I don't know. What this is doing is really lowering my opinion of people who go take yoga classes. So, bleh.
And of course, it takes, for the people who can actually do splits, it takes years to be able to do splits. And a lot of those people learn it in childhood, so they don't even remember how long it took them. But it takes years to learn how to do splits, or to create the flexibility so that you can do splits.
Yeah, getting the flexibilities issue. It's not a matter of learning. I honestly, like, here's the thing. Let me put it this way. I'm pretty sure that absolutely every single person who has a pair of legs, they can do the splits. How much damage it's going to cause their bodies to do it, and whether or not they need someone else to force them into that is another matter. But I'm pretty sure that if you apply enough pressure, anybody can do the splits. Whether or not they're going to need to go to the hospital is a matter of how much they've trained at doing the splits.
And so if you're expecting that to happen the first week, well, then you're just setting yourself up for failure. And the more you fail, the less likely you'll be to stay with.
Keep in mind, this is supposedly about what MGTOW is missing, but it sounds like he's completely lost the plot and is going off on a tangent from a previous video again. It's like, dude, this is about what MGTOW is missing. You are supposed to be discussing what, in your mind, you think that MGTOW channels are stuck in the red pill rage and they need to learn how to move beyond that and give better advice in the future to help men out of their depressing bits. And yet you're going back around and circling your old thing of people mentally setting themselves up for failure. Get back to the point, which you're probably not going to. But whatever, 4 minutes.
The program, and the more you succeed, the more likely you will be to stay with the program. So you have to trick yourself in that way, and you make your goals super, super easy. That way it's easy to succeed, and that way you'll have positive reinforcement with your goals. And then, after you've tricked yourself into working out, then you can start making your goals harder. Because even if you fail at the point where you've made the goals harder, you can say, well, I've succeeded at all these other things before, so why wouldn't this just be a minor setback?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Look, if you're really at that point, here's an idea. Do as many push-ups as you can till failure. Count them. Write that number down. Do it 3 times so you do a set of 3. Tomorrow you do it again and you write it down again. Then you do it again the day after that and you write it down again. It's not going to take you very long to do this. Like, literally everyone, I'm sure, has enough time in their day. Like, you could do it literally before bed. Like, if you did 3 sets of push-ups to failure before bed, you would see improvement. Do that every day for a week, and you'll be shocked. An alternative would be do 100 push-ups. No matter how shitty you have to make the push-ups by the end, do 100 push-ups. See how many sets it takes you. And then do it again the next day. Do it again the next day. Do it again the next day. You're going to see the number of sets it takes you to get to 100 push-ups go down. Setting some kind of specific goal, a specific number, or a specific objective, that's going to be a little bit tougher. Instead, personally, I'd say just go for incremental growth. Like, why do you need to hit this specific number? So long as you can see continual rewards and you're constantly moving forward at least a little bit, regardless of whether or not you plateau for a while, like, that's going to be positive motivation. Because then every day you're going to get your dopamine fix for, hey, I accomplished my task. Hey, I improved a little bit. Instead of trying to set some sort of specific objective and then you don't get your dopamine reward until the day of said objective, and then it's either success or failure. So I did not study fitness in any formal capacity. This is just my own personal experience and watching a whole bunch of different YouTubers. And chat, I think it sounds more sensible, but hey, if I'm just talking out my ass, by all means, call me out.
I've already won, so I just got to push through a little bit more. I just had to do a little recalibrating, and then I'll succeed at this too. If you have only failure, you're going to say, well, that's just another thing I failed at. I have no past success. I'm just not good at this. I just suck at whatever this is. And you'll quit.
Hey, Sean, you talk way too much about this to not be projecting. I'm being honest here. It sounds like you've had a lot of fuck ups, and they bug you. I mean, shit, like, have I had fuck ups? Sure, I've had a ton. But I don't go posting my L's on the internet or assuming that everyone else has the same failures. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, if you think less of your audience than you do of yourself, and you don't exactly think the highest of yourself to begin with, well, then you must think that most of your audience is pretty fucking shit. That you actually have something to tell them that they couldn't figure out on their own or learn from someone more qualified.
So if you do end up doing this slowly enough, what'll happen is you'll start to learn different tactics to get yourself to work out. You'll start to learn different places to be safe. Like what I'd recommend to people who do weightlifting is just spend about the first year or so just learning form. Lift sub-maximally and just...
I think that's just good advice for life. Don't fucking max out your reps. Like that's just fucking dangerous, period. First year? No, how about fucking period? Why the hell do you need to figure out what your maximum is? Again, like rule of thumb that I followed, and this was from a workout program, not any professional, I'd say, just fucking internet, just program on the internet. 8 to 15. If you can't do 8, you're lifting too heavy, reduce by 5 pounds. If you can do 15 or more, you're lifting too light, increase by 5 pounds. That's safe. If you're sticking to weights within that range, you're going to get growth and you're going to be safe. Fuck, I would not want to even consider trying to find out what my max is without a spotter who I know is stronger than me. That's just fucking dangerous. I have seen muscles freaking snap and roll up like a goddamn, what is it, window shade. God, just no. God, no. Fucking, yeah.
Work on how do I do a proper deadlift? How do I do a proper clean? How do I do a proper shoulder press? Because when you're weightlifting, what you really should be doing is you should be on free weights only. Free weights are exactly how they sound. They're weights that are not attached to any sort of machine. Whereas
this is actually good advice, though. Yeah, free weights and focus on your form over maximum weight. Like you want to build in the muscle memory for the habit more so than trying to push your body to its limits. Like, this is good advice, just straight up. Credit where credit is due.
a machine is fixed. And the benefit of doing free weights is that you get more, you have these things called synergist muscles. And so those, and you have the prime movers, which do the main movement, and you have all the synergist muscles, which help out the main movement. And so when you do a machine, you're only really going to hit prime movers. So you only get these synergist muscles or all the functional muscles when you're not fixed to one area.
Okay, now again, this video, as you can see by the big ass title card, is about what MGTOW is missing. And I'm pretty sure for the past 2 minutes at least, he has just been into workout advice. I'm pretty sure that he hasn't been advised yet to script out his videos, because this is just straight up rambling that's been chopped into a 13.5-minute video. So, almost done.
So because of that, of course, it's more dangerous, which means you have to be safer. But oftentimes people get too gung-ho about it, and they rush into their workout, and, well, then they get hurt, and then they get a permanent back injury from that. So you keep things simple. You'll learn better form. You'll learn better posture. You're going to learn how to deal with yourself when you're sick. You're going to learn how to deal with yourself when you're tired, or how to deal with yourself when you get bored of working out, or how to actually improve. This all happens when you spend time doing something. So the amount of it's not just the number of hours you put down, it's the amount of time you have to think about the certain thing. So if you've been doing, 6 hours a day of yoga for a week, I would still think that a year
6 hours a day of yoga for a week. 42 hours of yoga. A full-time job just doing yoga. Holy fuck balls. Hey, Jack, who do you genuinely think is going to be better suited to doing day-to-day life? The guy who does 42 hours a week of yoga, or the guy who does 3 hours a week of weightlifting? Personally, if I had to pick someone to be on my team for any sort of endeavor, I'm going to pick the weightlifting guy. Might be personal bias there, but I'm going to pick the weightlifting guy. Almost done. Almost done.
of 2 hours a week is better than 6 hours a day for a week or whatever the equivalent time period of that would be, because I'm sure my math is off there. Whatever the equivalent time period would be, it's much better to have a year of time with less time put in per week than it would be to have shorter time with more time put in, because your brain has to reorder stuff. There's, if you ever played a rhythm game like Guitar Hero or Dance Dance Revolution, if you're a huge nerd like I am, what would happen?
Huge nerd. Dance Dance Revolution. Huge nerd. Given your just atrocious take on Dragon Ball at the start of this, I would not qualify you as a nerd. The only thing that I'd qualify you as a nerd in is childhood trauma. That's about all you seem to have any sort of expertise in. And quite frankly, it only seems that way to me because I personally do not know that much about childhood trauma. That's really the only reason that I could even give you that much credit. I'm willing to bet if there was someone who actually looked into it far deeper, they'd probably listen to your shit on childhood trauma and probably be able to dissect you. But I can't do that. But given that you paid for your fucking education on fitness, and my education on fitness comes from fucking YouTube videos and the occasional DVD, yeah, I'm not impressed with your expertise. And so it throws everything else you have into question.
Is that you play this game called Guitar Hero and you push the little buttons on the guitar, and you can only do so much in one day. So you play normal mode, you hit all the buttons and whatever, and you try to go to hard mode and you couldn't. But you go to sleep that same night, and then you wake up and suddenly you go from being a normal player to a player who can play a more advanced difficulty. So your brain thinking about it, I don't know what that mechanism is, but when your brain thinks about stuff, when your brain has time to process information, you get better in itself with that. And so in order to get that benefit, you have to have a program that is easy enough for you to actually stick with it for a long period of time. And then maybe, because when you look at all these people who are really, really advanced at this stuff, these are all people who have been exercising for years. These are often people who love to work out, who've been doing sports their whole life, and it's just, plain old you who hasn't worked out at all.
Yeah, Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours. Like, I'm pretty sure that fucking Macklemore's song 10,000 Hours that straight up cited Malcolm Gladwell had come out by this point. Like, my God, this is... How stupid does he think his audience is? That they've somehow managed to get to this corner of the internet, and this most basic of advice is something that he thinks the audience doesn't have. And apparently, he thinks that MGTOW need to hand out. If MGTOW channels were not handing out this advice in 2019, I'm willing to bet it's by and large because they had more respect for their audiences than you do. Fucking 20 seconds.
Is starting their first program, and of course it's going to be tough and it's going to be rigorous. So make it easy on yourself. And I think we'll call that an episode or a video. So if you like this video, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Throw a comment down in the comment section if you have anything to add, and I will see you in the next video.
Well, since he's wiped it all off of YouTube, nope, you can't like, you can't comment. And he apparently doesn't stand for this video anymore. But thanks to the MGTOW archive and my ass willing to go through this, and chat willing to continue to support me as I go through this, we're going to dig these videos out one by one. And it's going to take a while because there's a lot of them. He's deleted at least 30% of all the videos he's ever made. I'd have to actually look at his channel and do the math. But I'm pretty sure it's somewhere between 30 to 50% of all videos he's made have been deleted. So, all right. We will take a brief intermission because I'm going to need to have another drink. Both because my mouth is getting dry from talking so much, and because this shit's a little much to take completely sober. So, brief intermission, guys. Replace your fluids. We'll be right back. And we're back. Crack a fresh one here. Gee. Okay. I'm just gonna check real quick and see if Chronic's posted the stream schedule. I'm gonna try to time this so that we can just hop over to him afterwards. Scheduled yet? Oh yeah, it's 11:30. We got time. We're gonna definitely be able to get through 3 of these. Although, geez, that was an hour. That was a 13-minute video. We're gonna have to try to get through this one a little bit faster. All right. So, next segment. Before you sleep. What is this? 13? Yeah, archived video 13. Kick a man when he is down. Let us begin.
About 10 years ago or so, a friend of mine told me to read this book called Ender's Game. It's a science fiction book. And there's this really important line in the book that I'll have to explain a little bit about the plot before you actually understand it. Now, Ender's Game is a book about childhood geniuses. Childhood geniuses that are sent to a military academy to help win a war against, well, it's sci-fi, so it's always going to be against bugs. To win a war against space bugs. Now, in particular, they've got all these geniuses that are kind of lined up, but really the main genius that they're looking for is a kid named Ender. And they scout him from the time when he was 6 years old, and he works up until he's like maybe 15 or 16 when the book finally ends. And he goes through all these different academies, and the last academy he's in, they make them play these different games. And these games are obviously supposed to mimic actual combat. And so Ender eventually gets his own team. And when he gets his own team, it is very clear that when he's playing the game, these other teams get a bunch of different advantages. Now, as far as the game goes, you can just kind of look up or watch the movie or look up the Ender's Game, space game thing. I don't think I need to explain the actual rules of the game because that would take too long and it wouldn't be that relevant. But basically, it's like a field game like soccer, sort of.
Okay, well, I'm just going to make this comment on bugs before he gets to his apparent point on the game. I'm willing to bet that he could make this point without referencing Ender's Game, but apparently he needs to start each one of his videos with some kind of pop culture reference. Or at least these recent videos. But as a bit of a nerd, with a love of science fiction, space bugs, they make sense for an enemy. Because they're about as far from human as you can get. Xenomorphs, Tyranids, dune sandworms, the bugs from Starship Troopers, Yerks from Animorphs. Those are just the ones that come to the top of my head right now, but the thing is with space bugs, bugs have two very key things that make them ideal enemies. Number one, they're fucking scary when they get big, and they are absolutely not human. If it was intergalactic werewolves or like intergalactic mermaid, okay, mermaids is a bad thing because the only other thing that you do aside from make your aliens bugs is you'd make them squid. Like you'd go the Cthulhu route and make them deep sea creatures. As those are alien environments on Earth, either the deep underwater. Oh yeah, flood from Halo. Yeah, that's the thing. Parasites too. I don't know any mammals that lay their babies inside other creatures and parasitize them from within. We are beyond thankful for our immune systems that keep us most of the time from becoming host to insects. So, no, straight up bugs. We have an instinctual hatred of bugs. So making aliens bugs, yeah, it's a good way to clear the air of, there is no peace, there is no negotiation, there is no cooperation, there is no interspecies relations, at least not wholesome, willing ones. When your aliens are bugs, that sends a message to the audience that this is just shit that you need to exterminate. Simple as. You make them anything resembling a mammal, heck, even a reptile. We at the very least have conversations and negotiations with reptilian aliens. Let's look at Star Trek, okay? They got freaking snake aliens. They got alien elves. They got alien orcs. They got alien goblins. Guess what you do with them? You open negotiations with them. You talk to them. They're anthropomorphized. They're humanoid. There are no bug aliens in Star Trek that are part of the Federation, at least not to my knowledge. So that's why it's alien bugs, because the narrative is that you're going to kill them. Because if it wasn't alien bugs, you'd probably try communicating with them first. Oh, true, DDSK. It could be eat the bugs propaganda, but I don't think in Starship Troopers they ever ate the bugs. But just freaking side tangent there, because why alien bugs is fascinating to me. But let's see where he's getting with Ender's Game, which I haven't read. I didn't watch the movie. I know absolutely jack shit. So if he says some bullshit on it, I'm sorry, guys. I'm probably not going to catch it. It's like alien vegans. Oh, do not get me down the fucking rabbit hole of Stellaris fan fiction where fucking herbivores somehow made it. Like, wait. No vegan or herbivore species will ever develop space travel. That is one of the biggest fucking loads of bullshit that science fiction can crap out. That a fucking non-meat consuming species managed to develop space travel on their own. Would not happen. But that's a different video entirely.
And so when Ender plays, every team gets a massive advantage against him. You know, sometimes it'll be like, you know, you get a massive field advantage, or you get better equipment, or it'll be like 2 against 1. And the whole point was to make the game unfair that way, because it's, you know, like actual combat. A lot of times when you're doing combat, your enemy has a massive advantage against you, which is why they attacked you. I think it was Stalin who said this, or one of the great military powers. Maybe it was like Napoleon or Sun Tzu.
Great military power, and the first thing that comes to mind is Stalin. You know, I'm going to hear what the quote is, and then I'm going to search it up. And then we're going to come to the conclusion that no, he did not script this video.
But you don't attack somebody unless you know you're going to win.
Okay. Just going to look that up real quick. Let's see. Quote. Apparently the top result for that quote is Maya Angelou. Oh wait, no. Also, no. Dr. Seuss. Nothing is going to get better unless someone. So it's important not to attack someone unless you know you're going to win. What? What? Maya Angelou, Dr. Seuss. Guess who I'm not seeing? Stalin. Maybe I'll add Stalin to the end. Not Sun Tzu. Attack on Titan. Okay, like, no, definitely, apparently not Stalin, or at the very least, not that a quick search can't find, but Sun Tzu said something along the lines of, if you know your enemy and you know yourself, then you need not fear the outcome of 100 battles. The importance of intelligence gathering in combat. So, unscripted video, but don't attack someone unless you know you're going to win. Sounds good until you start breaking it down for 5 seconds, because, like, what? Maybe he's getting to a point here, but right away, he would have been better off just dropping the whole, hey, I think I heard this quote once from one of these people. Continue.
And so if someone's willing to attack you, it's probably because they have a huge advantage. If someone's trying to conquer you, they've got a massive advantage against you.
No, they don't necessarily have it. They might think they have it. They might just not be used to anyone fighting back. How many people on the internet will absolutely launch an attack on somebody and then immediately go on the fucking defensive as soon as anyone shows resistance? Like, come on. Also, Mao, the RE4 remake demo. I heard that they nerfed Ashley's ballistics, so no. I'd much rather support the fan game, like the fan mod that upscales all the textures of the original, because that sounds like an interesting project. Fuck the remake. He's quoting Stalin. You have to question his political beliefs. I more question his political beliefs when he thinks of Stalin as a great military leader before Napoleon and Sun Tzu. So, I mean, we have a vegan yoga teacher from California, or in California at the time. I'm pretty sure that his political beliefs are already sus. But I am trying to just judge him by the shit that he says and admits to, rather than trying to infer shit based on the demographic, because, I don't know, I just feel like it has a little bit higher integrity, makes better arguments if I attack what he actually says rather than trying to project something from someone else onto him. Anyway. Keep going.
Which is why they did it in the first place.
Again, they don't attack you because they have an overwhelming advantage. They attack because probably they think you aren't going to fight back. Or at the very least, they don't think they're going to suffer significant repercussions. Or that the repercussions are worth what they are doing. Like, come on, guys. You've seen videos of like 120-pound women squaring up to guys with a foot of height and 50 pounds on them of muscle and assault them without regard. Is that because the woman thinks she's going to win the fight? Or that she has an overwhelming advantage? Or is she just confident that the guy's not going to fight back? Because then they get smacked down and they are shocked. Absolutely fucking shocked. And the guy could have done more. He usually just does enough to end the fight right then and there, but different tangent, and I'm trying not to get demonetized this fast, but whatever. We'll keep going.
And
wood chippers. Now, I'm pretty sure the highest death count goes to Mao Zedong. Stalin's second, I believe. I'm pretty sure that Mao still holds the record.
So eventually one of the players on the other side, who are fighting against Ender, the main character, says, because I forget who it is, but it's one of Ender's friends, and he walks up to Ender and says, "Well, hey, I know we have this huge advantage against you. This is not really fair, and they've been against you since the very start. You've always had a disadvantage. So we're gonna get rid of our advantage. We're not going to use it." And Ender looks at him and he says, "You're nuts. Anytime you have an advantage, you should always use it. Anytime." And so now that kind of brings us to the title. That was the line, by the way. Anytime you have an advantage, you always use it. And that's kind
of... Okay. Maybe that's the actual quote. Maybe I can find that. Nah, I'm seeing maybe if I had quote to the end of it. Yeah, there's a lot of generic ones on advantage, but not really anything that is specific to this. So who knows whether any of these great military leaders he can't cite said any of that. I think Sun Tzu is the closest about knowing yourself, knowing your enemy, and then not fearing the outcome of battles. Keep going.
And it brings me to the title, which is, kick a man when he's down, or roughly that. I forgot what I haven't decided the actual title yet, but I'm sure you can read it at this point. Is that one of the detriments of having a very well-running society, especially like ours, is that people have gotten too honorable. People have gotten too civilized. And they've forgotten some of the roots. And in order to have a proper character, you need to develop your good parts, but you also need to develop your evil parts. Because everybody who's willing to do evil will outcompete you if you are not willing to stoop down to the same level. And so when we talk about finding...
So what you're saying is that if I want to out-compete, think before you sleep, I need to sell out my core audience. I need to delete my past videos, rescind a bunch of shit I said, and try to appeal to the wider, more generic audience, throwing aside the people that actually brought me up. Like, I should do that. I should develop the capacity for that. Okay. That's an interesting idea. Personally, I think that doing that would lead to the outright death of my channel and the loss of all credibility. And I'd end up having half my chat fucking roast me at all times. Not to mention everyone who's ever supported me doing their damnedest to set me on fire with their brains and comments. So, yeah, that's an interesting idea. I think you're a fucking fool for believing that. Because, again, using you as an example, Sean, your capacity for evil that you've developed, it's gotten you a bunch of subs. It's also gotten you fucking despised. Got you an e-thought as a girlfriend who either she's lying about being celibate or you ain't getting any. So, anyway, your path of evil has led to me, with my brand new Vtuber rig, dismantling the past you're trying to bury. This is where it's gotten you. This is where that mentality's gotten you. So, who knows? Maybe in your mind this is winning. We'll see. We'll see. I can't say for sure because it all depends on what metrics you measure your success by, I suppose.
What our advantages is usually, and let's talk about this personally first, because I think that makes a lot more sense, and that's a lot more helpful philosophically, and then we'll get to...
Wait, magical triggers could date an ether. You know what? Hey, I wonder if Amaranth is available. I don't know. Wait, let's see. So we got he's with Brittany Venti. Just pearly things. Should I start with just pearly things? Or should I go for one of the trad ones? I mean, or should I go for a popular one like Amaranth? Be the guy who holds the camera for her hot tub streams or something. Yeah, that's the path to fucking 500,000 subs right there.
To kind of the big battle at the end is personally, if you are not taking advantage of your advantages, you're going to be very miserable. Now, you may not know how to find what those are, but I bet if you've lived long enough, like if you're maybe even 15 years old or maybe up to 20 years old or so, if you've hit 20, people have told you some things about you. And, well, for me, when I was in martial arts, I was very noticeably tall. And for the longest time, I kept trying to compete on everybody else's level. Now, I'm taller than most people. I'm 6'2". And I tried to compete like someone who was 5'6". Now, typically what people who are shorter will do is they'll work speed, and people who are taller are going to work moves that do reach. And in terms of actual combat, reach is always more effective to develop properly than speed is. It's just how things tend to work. You take two people with the same skills, and well, the taller one's going to win. Much like the stronger person or the bigger person in a judo sport, because I was in karate, so that's a distance sport. But when you're in judo or jiu-jitsu, like a very, very close range sport, then the bigger person is going to win if you're at the same skill level. So it wasn't until I actually read, because I was in martial arts when I read that book. It wasn't until I read that book and I said, hey, well, what are my advantages? Well, I'm really tall, nobody else is, so why don't I just use that? And so that's when I started developing my skill in that direction. That's when I actually started winning. Now, unfortunately, I didn't compete much past the kind of the beginner level black belts, because I had some falling out with martial arts that well, some bad things happened, and I stopped competing. But the very last part of it, I was doing very, very well when I started developing the things I'm naturally good at. Outside of that, what I've tried to monetize as much as...
Considering I didn't do much of martial arts, I honestly wouldn't know what much of the competitive scene looks like, so can't say too much on that topic. But yeah, in general, you're taller, you're going to have a reach advantage. What combat I have studied, reach was important, yes, but reading your opponent and technique could compensate for that. At the very least, in what I did. Whether or not the reach is a significant difference is one thing or another. And, I mean, I guess 6'2" is tall. I mean, sure, it's over 6 feet, so it's one of 666 Chad's features, but God, what is it with so many tall guys and being fucking lanky as hell? Like, it's one thing to be 6 foot tall, 230 pounds, and fucking jacked. But if you're 6 feet tall and you're 150 pounds soaking wet, like, I I guess we'll add stepped out of competitive martial arts for reasons that he doesn't want to disclose to the history of Sean. Like, we're learning quite a bit about this guy because he likes to go into at least some detail about his past if he thinks it's relevant to the video topic, which, hey, I do the same, so I can't really judge there. Let's keep going.
Possible, and you can see me doing it here now.
But keep in mind, we are supposed to be getting to kick a man when he is down as the video topic. So I guess he's like, hey, if you're tall, use things that take advantage of your being tall when you're in competition in order to improve your odds of victory. It's like, I think a much easier and simpler way of saying this would be play to your strengths. Yeah, that does make sense. Play to your strengths.
Everybody who I've gotten to know really well says, hey, you know a lot of really useful stuff. And you know you're really, really intelligent. And people have been saying this since I was like 10 years old. And so think about things like that. Because when I started teaching yoga, that's what I started working on. I was trying to teach, I did the same thing I did in martial arts. I forgot the advice until I had started having a crisis because it wasn't getting any better.
You weren't getting better at yoga? Yeah, I'll let him finish up before I put my foot in my mouth here.
But I try to do the same thing that everybody else does in yoga and, teach these certain poses, do this certain way, get really flexible, do all these arm balances or whatever. And that's what is your route to success. But
sorry, guys, just dropped some shit. My desk is a cluttered ass mess. I got fucking miniature setups all over the bloody place, but what the heck is he on about? It's not like yoga's competitive or anything. Whatever. Maybe he's getting somewhere.
the problem is that those people have a massive advantage against me because most people have been practicing yoga for 5 or 10 years before they actually became teachers. I've been practicing for about a year, so I didn't have that luxury. So I had to work around it. I had to use the things I'm good at. And because it seems like doing the arm balance thing, doing the pose thing, it seems like it's the more honorable route. Like I had this idea, because I've had multiple, that same friend who told me to read Ender's Game. We also play Dungeons and Dragons, and every time you don't use your advantages in Dungeons and Dragons, people will just kill you because the enemy is willing to do that. Like I remember having a battle. I had to get very very nerdy here. I had a monk who was like a hand-to-hand fighter. Now they can use other things. Usually monks will use weapons until they're like level 10 or so, when they can start punching through walls and shit like that. But in this case, I had a couple of very very good weapons, and I got challenged to a duel. And the way monks work, and at least in the old Dungeons and Dragons, is if you get challenged to a duel, you have to accept. Now the benefit of that is if you win, you
Old Dungeons and Dragons. You get challenged to a duel. You have to accept. I mean, I'm most familiar with 3rd edition. So, what the heck do you mean you have to accept? It's a role-playing game. You... Like... What? In none of the D&D stories I've heard does one have to accept a duel. Especially if it's from someone weaker than you. So, I don't know what the fuck he's on about here, but let's keep going. Getting into fucking game mechanics and combat is like, yeah, if you use your rogue like a fighter, the DM is going to calibrate your experiences for your rogue acting like a rogue. Like, if you are a level 5 rogue and you're up against a level 5 encounter, it's balanced so that your rogue acts like a rogue. Flanking, backstabbing, sneak attacks, smoke bombs, that kind of shit. That's what the rogue does. If you're the rogue and you decide that you're going to start tanking, unless you are a couple levels above the encounter, you're probably going to die. That's that's basic mechanics, but what the fuck's he on about dueling? Well, whatever, see where he's going with this.
and the duel is reasonably challenging, you gain a level. And Dungeons and Dragons roughly goes up to level 20. Gaining one level is a huge deal. That's a life or death thing. If you refuse the duel, you lose a level. Now, this duel I was fighting was pretty much a
If you refuse a duel, you lose. Okay, I'm looking this up. I don't care if this takes another couple extra minutes in this video. D&D rule. Refuse duel. Well. Okay. Thing on duels. Is this Pathfinder? Stuff on the combat. Duels counter. Is this... This isn't even the same rule system. I don't know what the hell he's on about, guys. Look, if any of y'all are like old school D&D vets, or you've read the rule books and you remember this being a thing, let me know. I do not remember this being a thing ever. Maybe I just didn't read in depth enough, but try to get through this.
doing for me to win. I was, we were in an open field. I was 3 times faster than the opponent I had that was fighting me. It was a troll, I think. And I had my character had been through some stuff, and I had basically a Star Trek phaser gun. so I could blow shit up and I could stun stuff.
A Star Trek phaser gun. Because your character had been through some stuff. Let's just keep going. If I pick apart every sentence he says, we'll be here another hour.
But I had that gun, and I was twice as fast as the guy, but I wanted to fight honorably. Like, if you watch a lot of anime does the stupidest shit. Like, you'll watch, let me use a popular show, Hero Academy or Naruto or Dragon Ball, and they'll always say, your opponent is me. And they'll say, no, stand back, everybody. We've got 10 people here, but let's fight this guy one-on-one so I can lose. It's like, no. If you've got 10 people, fight 10 against 1. That's how you win. And that's how you win consistently. So I had the anime mentality. I said that I'm going to fight this guy honorably. I'm going to fight him. He's got no weapons. I've got these awesome fists, and so I'm going to fight him hand to hand, which was stupid, and I ended up losing. Well, I almost lost, but I had a really, really powerful magic. This is starting to get a little nerdy. I had a really powerful magic item because my character was basically the focus of the whole campaign. So when I was about to lose, that powerful magic item unlocked. I got a bunch of extra damage bonus points, and I beat the crap out of the thing.
A monk fought unarmed and lost. Except a Deus Ex Machina, which wasn't the magic item unlocked. The DM threw you a fucking bone. Because, what, you were the folks... Was the DM your best friend or something? Like, holy fuck. What the ever-loving shit. Like, first, you play a monk. A monk who apparently has a fucking gun. For some reason. Just to put... Everyone who's played or familiar with D&D is fucking smelling the goddamn... Like... I mean, it could very well be telling the truth. D&D campaigns do go to some wild and outlandish places. But quite frankly, if you took this, it doesn't sound believable. Maybe it's true, but it doesn't fucking sound true. 1.25 to get through his ambush. You know what? I think you're right on that. Let me. God, we gotta fucking get through this. Can I? Playback, speed. Sure, we'll hit fast. This is VLC media player I'm using, not YouTube. So we'll hit faster fine grade. Maybe that'll be useful. Yeah, okay, that's 110. Yeah, faster 1.3. Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys, he's gonna sound like a chipmunk now.
The guy who was running it said, dude, you fucking idiot. All you had to do was run away and shoot it. You had a firearm, he had nothing. All you had to do was run and shoot. Simple as that. You could have won without taking 1 hit point of damage at all. And
so apparently he watched more anime than he did Indiana Jones.
Paid for that a couple times in campaigns like that, and I paid for that plenty of times in actual life where it's like I failed to use my advantages, and because of that I've lost. So you really have to learn as much as possible to stop doing that. Find out what you are good at. Find out what people have been telling you. Hey, you're really good at this. Then go ahead and do that. And if you can do that in your personal life, you can do that politically. Because certainly, if there's a war against women, if there's a war against people who are supporters of women, if there's a female-run society right now, as we certainly are in a gynocracy, and we're experiencing a lot of detriment because of that. The only reason that they're able to do that is because there are a lot of women who are willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want. And you can very well see that where they've got...
No, it's not that women are willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want. It's that they have a bunch of men who are willing to do anything to get the approval of women. That's the difference. women doing whatever the fuck it takes to get what they want, except, you know, actually put in the fucking work. It's the men that they can get to do shit for them that enforces the gynocracy. Women are not running shit. Women are given a higher level of citizenship than men by the most powerful of men to be used as tools to control men. This is not women running shit by any means necessary. This is men using women to control other men. How the fuck do you not understand this?
The court system, where if you, maybe I'll link this in the description for those who haven't seen it, DDJ or Miss Andrew today has a video on called the Duluth model, which is where they basically made up all these fake statistics about domestic violence, and that Duluth model runs all of the courts today, where it's like...
The only reason men don't fucking declare bullshit domestic assault charges is because they know that it doesn't mean shit. What the fuck advantage could men... The only way men can use their advantages to them is to decide that instead of going to jail for domestic assault, they're going to go to jail for murder. That's about the only way a man can use his advantage in this sort of system.
Men are unfairly advantaged against women against domestic violence, and therefore all men should be treated like shit. You should have a mandatory arrest every time there's any sort of domestic violence case, even if the man didn't initiate it, so he should be mandatorily arrested.
Even if the man didn't do jack shit, he's mandatorily arrested.
And it was all false. In fact, my grandmother, maybe I shouldn't dox myself too much, but anyway, well, I've already said it. My grandmother...
You fucking said your name is Sean and you've shown your face. Apparently you've given less of a shit about doxing yourself in the 4 years since this video.
Did some research.
I mean, like, let's be honest. Your name's Sean. You did some yoga teaching stuff in years in California, and I'm pretty sure that people could probably do a reverse image search on your face and probably come up with your fucking Facebook profile or something. I just can't be arsed because I don't give a shit. For me, it doesn't matter who the fuck you are in the real world. Like, this bullshit you're spouting is what matters. But clearly, you do not give enough of a fuck about doxing yourself since you decided, hey, let me put my face on a live stream and say my real first name out. I mean, shit, what? For all I know, you've said your actual last name out there. Oh, and fucking Brittany Venti probably knows your face and where you live and shit, so... Yeah, congratulations. Like, God. It is just... God, I literally need to drink one beer for every one of these episodes I review. That's how much of a goddamn... Like, I need to be intoxicated to process this stuff. But, hey, I'm still got 40 to 50 of you guys watching throughout this, so... I hope y'all are having fun. I mean, I am having fun. I bitch and I complain, but this is actually fun. So we'll keep going and wrap this one up.
Back in a couple decades ago, to not give you too specific of a time period, where she found that domestic violence is pretty equally initiated by men and women. And
oh, hold on, I think we got a little update on the rules. Rule about monks, page 32, first edition player's handbook, special rule 6. Above level 7, there are a limited number of them, and they duel to advance. Okay, so, yeah, I guess there is actually something in first edition D&D about monks needing to duel to advance. Alright, well. I guess that wasn't bullshit after all, but... Alright, old D&D was fucking whack. I mean, potion missability, I think, was a thing, so... That was pretty whack, too. But that's beside the point.
And when the feminists caught on to that, this is around the time the Duluth model was being proposed. When feminists caught on to that, they ripped her to shit. And she always identified herself as a feminist, so she was on her side. And so, anyway.
Feminists turning on other feminists because their feminist belief doesn't align with the current feminist belief. Yeah, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Am I right, guys?
History is history. So they're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And so we have to start doing that as well. Now, certainly we shouldn't sit there and kill anybody. We certainly shouldn't do anything that's evil. But
So we should do whatever it takes to win, but we shouldn't do anything that's evil, even though 3 videos ago was you saying how we need to increase our capacity for evil. So which is it? Like, what do you actually think we should do? Do you think we should do anything in order to win? Or should we do anything within certain arbitrary moral restrictions dictated by you? Right. Let's wrap this up.
we should be finding out what our advantages are. And certainly our advantage over women, that's the most outstanding one, is money. Men make way more money than women do. And so we need to use that. I don't know if I have exactly all the answers, but I know at least that money is our advantage. So we should be.
Yes, money is the advantage of men. And the primary way to deal with the current bullshit is to minimize the amount that you spend on shit that benefits women. No marriage, no cohabitation, no free lunches, no foodie calls. Quit that simp shit. Don't pay for OnlyFans. Like, yeah, men having a tighter grip on their money and biology. Yeah, that's a way to fight back. Fight back isn't even the right term. Because guess what? The government has guns. It's not women taking your money from you. Women are not in charge. Men are in charge. Like, can you get that through your head? Men are not the ones in charge. Women. Sorry. Like, men are in charge. The top men. The elite men. They are the ones in charge. Women are not. Women are not getting men to empty their fucking wallets through their own power. They use the law. They use the court system. And the law and the court system only functions because men enforce it. If you took all the male cops away, every male law enforcement officer, if they just walked off the job and decided, fuck this, I'm not going to participate, women would have absolutely no power. Like, all those female cops, they'd just be, as TFM has put it, they'd be ammo pickups. The only reason that women have any power is because there are men standing behind them with guns backing it up. You say men have the advantage of money? No, men have the advantage of power. And it is the power of men that is used to oppress other men in the name of women. Because men are willing to accept more abuse amongst other men if it's done in the name of women. That's how shit works. If there wasn't women in the way being used as a buffer, well, this conflict would have gotten a lot less civil a long fucking time ago. Okay. Almost done.
Be figuring out a way to factor that in. And I guess I'll leave that open-ended. So certainly if you have any comments about that, leave that in the comment section. Anyway, I'll call that a video today since this is running a couple minutes, probably too long. So thanks again for listening and watching. I will see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you happen to like the video, and bye.
And again, this video has been deleted, so you're going to have to do your liking and commenting below this, which, yes, I do need to upload multiple segments now since I haven't chopped up the last couple streams, but those will be going up this weekend. So be prepared for a big dump, those of you who have all the alerts on. All right. I'm grabbing another beer. We will keep this stuff at 1.3 times speed, though, because yeah, he goes on way too many ramblings about absolutely nothing. So we're going to speedrun these. Thankfully, these last two videos have been under 15 minutes. They're at least somewhat tolerable. All right, 2-minute break, guys. We'll be right back. And we are back. I remember to switch to this one. All right, just gonna copy this over real quick. Since the chat seems to refresh every time, I think I'll definitely switch it to some sort of intermission, or heck, even just step off screen to show him away for the moment. Because I'd like a different intermission scene than that. But I'm just going to repost this. If you want to donate to the stream, get your comment read live on the chat and get included in the segment, you can super chat, or you can use the Streamlabs link there in order to bypass, I guess, Neil. It's not Susan anymore. But if you want to bypass Neil and handle it and send me a bigger percentage, or you just don't want to give money to YouTube on principle, that works too. Let's see. Yeah, 1.3 times. Let's just make sure that we are indeed. Oh, yeah, we were indeed. So we'll keep it at 1.3 times. And we will start segment number. This is video 14. Just because of the archive. Just because of the archives, it skips a couple. So segment 14 of Think Before You Sleep's deleted videos. Why I no longer talk to other vegans. Oh. Let's see where this goes.
I got this video as a request. I decided to take it on because I think it follows into the philosophy of this channel, or the politics of this channel, as well as the health talks that I intend to do for this channel. In fact, what I'll probably do is maybe one sort of health talk a week, whether that has to do with diet or exercise or whatever it is, and then maybe one sort of female nature topic of the week, whatever it relates to in the news or whatever I happen to think of, and then maybe the rest of the videos during that week will be philosophy, whether that's maybe 3 or 4 videos or so. And so maybe it'll be about 3 to 5 videos per week for those who are following the channel. But as you've seen the title already, this topic is going to be about vegans. Now, I'll do probably a health video next week on this, but this I wanted to keep it philosophical because I originally started out as a vegan with good intentions. In fact, I didn't start out as a vegan for animals at all. I didn't really care. I mean, I've watched plenty of slaughterhouse videos, and it doesn't really bother me. In fact, when I was, I got this from basically when I trained to be a yoga teacher. There was a heavy focus on being vegan because there was a term in yoga called ahimsa, which means nonviolence. Now, typically they'll translate that nonviolence just to animals. However, if you want to take this principle universally, you want to apply your nonviolence to everything. And I've already got a video on that, which is called the non-aggression principle, that talks about some of those things. But basically, the only situation where you're allowed to be violent is if someone has attacked you first. You're not allowed to initiate force. And so I got into being a vegan partially because of that. That was kind of on the side, but I got into it mostly because of my health.
What about in anticipation of violence? Okay, I mean, maybe I'm splitting hairs here, but like, are you really not allowed to go after someone until they have decided that they are going to actively initiate force against you? Because, I mean, like, that sounds good if you're a kid. But when you have, a slightly better grasp of reality, you realize, hey, there's people who they're going to attack me, and it isn't going to be like a Final Fantasy encounter where we go to a specific stage and then it's like, okay, now we get to fight fair. Like, no. No, if you know someone will absolutely jump your ass given an opportunity, it's usually not a good idea to wait until that happens to try and defend yourself. So, yeah, I don't see that being a very good survival strategy in the long term. But let's see if he makes it. Let's see if he actually makes his point before a third of the way through his video, which would be close to the 5-minute mark.
Because I was eating very, very poorly. And I'll talk about that probably later next week or later in this week because the week's almost over. But on the philosophical part of it, I've seen quite well as I've joined a lot of vegan groups, because what you want to do when you change your diet is you want to associate with as many people that are on that diet as possible, especially if it's not a very common diet, because it'll be hard to get through without that. Because you're going to need recipes, you're going to need advice for, like, what are the people who've been doing this for 10 years doing? How do they survive that long? And so you have some sort of community. So as
in principle, I understand that. Like, if you're trying to quit smoking, you don't want to hang around a lot of smokers. If you're trying to be vegan, you don't want to hang out with people who will regularly invite you over for barbecues. I mean, so much as I might have a problem with vegans, that's not terrible advice if you wanted to be vegan. Just fair enough.
lots of vegan Facebook groups. I was in some groups on Reddit, and I was following a lot of different vegans on YouTube.
That does sound like a bit much, though. I mean, like, do you really need to go all the way? Okay, I can understand in real life doing it, but to immediately join multiple online communities? Like, for example, I'm kind of in this manosphere shit. I ain't on any sort of manosphere subreddits. I barely touch the Discord outside of DMs or warband related stuff. And I certainly don't get into sort of any groups IRL. Like, why the fuck do you need to spread yourself that much online? Just focus on one thing. Like, what do you need? You need to avoid meat in real life, because whether or not you talk to carnivores on the fucking internet is largely irrelevant. And vegan recipes, one cookbook. You don't need to be constantly hooked into social media to get vegan recipes. You get one vegan cookbook and you should be fine. That's it. That should be it. Why the fuck do you need to do whatever?
And then after a while, I started to notice that some of the principles weren't as consistent. And it started...
Oh.
Mental yoga, stretch and contort mental positions.
You know, that does make a lot of sense. Gotta fucking, gotta fucking keep that hamster wheel going and stretch your mental capacity so your fucking double think doesn't hurt as much. Hey, with enough mental gymnastics, you too can achieve a state of cognitive dissonance and not suffer any pain for it.
Started with this video by Freely the Banana Girl, and I think this is a fairly popular video back in the day. This is maybe 3 or 4 years ago or so, where she was having like a midlife crisis or something like that. Maybe she had like a fight with her boyfriend, and she woke up one day and decided to turn the camera on, and she talked to the camera, basically saying that, well, people know what happens to animals in factory farms, and I think she excludes. She says to the people who know about factory farms, which is most people. We know what goes on there. Most people just don't care. And so her proposal in that video was, well, why do these people get to live? They know about animal suffering. We should just get to, maybe we should get to kill them. And I thought that was a little bit weird because the whole message of veganism is nonviolence. In fact, that's why what got me into non-aggression principle was the experience with yoga plus being vegan. I said, okay, if I'm going to be nonviolent to animals, well, where else can I be nonviolent? Which is.
Meanwhile, nowadays my YouTube feed is, well, I wouldn't say filled, but it regularly gets crabs being processed, and not just processed like by humans, but also by other animals. I don't know if you heard it. It's like a Mr. Krabs where you see a crab going and it goes money, 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 and then it cuts to some bass boosted screaming as it gets introduced to the food chain or the supply chain. So I don't know. Maybe I'd feel different if I was regularly watching slaughterhouse stuff, but I don't know. Like I've been around the kind of beef farm environment for a long time. I'm not one of those people who apparently think that meat comes from the grocery store. So, but hey, am I really surprised to hear that a vegan wants to use their supposed position of moral superiority to inflict harm upon others? Nah. Over the past couple of years, anyone who tries to take that kind of morally superior position, sooner or later, they want to cause harm onto others using their morally superior position.
Everywhere. And not only is that a moral policy, but it's actually the most effective strategy. If you're going to have relationships that work, they need to be a win-win. They should be on a voluntary basis as opposed to a master and slave basis. And so I started seeing the master and slave basis for vegans where a lot of vegans. Now, I don't have any actual numbers about this, but I would see this everywhere in vegan groups. I'd see it everywhere from a bunch of vegan friends I added on Facebook from those groups, which are now not on my friends list. I've actually downed my friends list quite a bit over the past couple of years.
Did you seriously just add a whole bunch of people to your friends list simply because they were vegan? I mean, I understand adding people as Facebook friends, even though you don't know them, like in real life. I've personally always found it to be a bad experience, and now I don't even use Facebook. So I'll admit, a bunch of these decisions I just don't get. I just don't get a lot of these decisions that people make. But they make them, and there's reasons behind them. I just can't empathize with them.
Because of this, is I would see it's okay to be nonviolent to animals. We're perfectly nonviolent to animals, we're perfectly caring, but as soon as somebody disagrees with me, that's when I can use force. Because I have this special belief that I should just get to force people to do what I believe. Now, there's a little bit more of a ground to stand on because animals are being tortured and they're suffering. We all know that. But it's the same commentary thread as communism. It's the same commentary thread as people who have created bloody revolutions that have ruined society. So I've been aware of that because I've been aware of communism for quite a while. I've been aware of all these movements for quite a while.
So, yeah, it's almost as though there's a pattern between people who make themselves intentionally weak and then want to use that morally superior weakness to justify violence against people who are strong and not bound by their same limitations. Huh.
And that video really bothered me, but it didn't get me out of the groups yet. Because I thought, well, maybe it's just Freely. Maybe just Freely's a nutbag, which she clearly is. I was looking up her channel to review that.
Hey, most vegans are nutbags. Like, and hey, look, wait a minute. If you are a vegan and you're watching this and you're like, well, I'm not a nutbag, I fucking dare you to go within smelling distance of a barbecue. Smell some grilled cooking meat. You are going to go batshit crazy because your body is going to crave it. Your body knows that it wants it and it needs it. And you're going to get pissed the fuck off to an unreasonable amount. Because that's what happens when vegans smell cooking meat. That's why they feel the need to dissociate from everyone else who cooks meat and only hang out with vegans because you know you want it. You know it's good for you. So, you're vegan. You are fucking your brain up. Your body knows you're fucking your brain up. And the longer you stay vegan, the more likely you are to get into this sort of emotional crazy state. So, that's just how it's going to go. Enjoy whatever experiment you are on. Enjoy however much you like fucking with your body. Because you're fucking yourself up for social clout. I hope it's worth it. Because it's gonna fucking hurt. And you ain't gonna gain shit out of it. And you're gonna lose everything you gained when you eventually cave to what your body knows to be natural.
Video, because I'll post that video in the description, by the way. But I was looking at her channel, and she's now making like why I don't shave my legs and my armpits videos. So she's basically just a crazy feminist, and that's what I've seen from a lot of vegans. So I think they're the same people. It's the same argument as feminism, which is like there's all these poor helpless victims, and we need to help them by force, or else. And aren't they?
They need to help all these poor helpless victims because meanwhile they are trying to make themselves poor helpless victims. Because it's never we need to help them as in we as in I. No. It is we as in you. You, person who is not suffering to an extent that I approve of, you need to help people less powerful than you, and I am doing my damnedest to make myself into that position so that you are morally obligated or obligated under force of arms to do what I want and support me. These people would not survive without meat eaters, without carnivores, without people that they don't want to be like. Vegans can't survive on their own the same way feminists can't survive on their own. They can't. They need the rest of humanity to fucking survive. And yet, they want more. Fuck you, goddamn parasites. If you can't contribute, at the very least, stop being a goddamn hindrance to the rest of us.
So sad. It's like the care-based morality. So a lot of I don't know if I've met a vegan female who's not a feminist, or at least doesn't say she's an anti-feminist, which I don't know.
Basically, every female is a feminist. It's just a question of how openly they are a feminist. Because they might say, well, I'm not a feminist, because they don't want the label of being a feminist. You think they're gonna fucking drop their unearned privileges? No. They just don't want to be treated as a fucking leper. That's all.
Any woman who agrees with the laws of the past 50 years of feminism, past 100 years of feminism has won, is a feminist whether they say so or not. Like, you can preach anti-feminism. God, I cannot say that word. You can preach anti-feminism as much as you want, but you still like alimony, you still like child support, you still like the female vote without responsibility, then you're a feminist.
Okay, good. We actually agree on this matter. for now, give him a couple of years. He's gonna start to backtrack on a couple of these points, or at the very least, try to make it more appealing to the more feminist audience he's cultivating.
So feminism is all over the vegan groups, and it only was a matter of time before it started getting worse than that. Because then I started seeing lots of posts from vegan friends and from the vegan groups where, like, somebody would vandalize a restaurant, or somebody would vandalize a butcher shop, either one. They would break the windows, they would throw everything, they would flip over the tables, they'd destroy some of the inventory, and they'd paint like "Go Vegan" in red paint on the side of the building or on the windows that weren't destroyed. And people would be like, "These guys are heroes. These guys are so great. This is so wonderful." And to my response is, "Are you fucking nuts? These guys just vandalize a business."
I mean, are they going to pay for it? Are they going to pay for all the product they destroyed? Are they going to pay for the damage that they caused? Are they going to pay for the cleanup crew? Are they going to pay for the loss in sales that the bad reputation does? Like, that's the thing. If you're a rich-ass vegan and you're willing to pay out the ass for your message, like, because here's the thing. If you go into that butcher shop and you're like, "Sir, I would like to purchase your entire inventory for the day." Butcher's like, "Well, what are you going to do with it? That's quite a lot. You hosting the barbecue?" It's like, no, I'm going to destroy it. I'm not going to barbecue it. I'm going to set it on fire in protest. It's like, "Well, you're paying for it all, right?" Oh, yes, I'm absolutely going to pay for all of it. Well, all right, then, you buy all the meat off me. I don't, quite frankly, give a fuck what you do with it. No. You see, that's not what they do. They don't pay for it. They just destroy it. Don't pay for it. And then somehow, typically, dodge prison time for destroying someone else's property. Whereas if I were to go into my local grocery store and were to take all the Impossible meat products off the shelf and set that shit on fire and write down that Impossible meat is Chinese agricultural waste, yeah, I'd probably be looking at prison time. Though, if you take a box, put it in your cart, head to the opposite side, place it on a shelf, and, just kind of leave it on that shelf for the stock person to deal with, then, it'll probably be thrown away because it was out of refrigeration for a certain period of time. People do that shit all the time. That's a way to get rid of it without bringing the cops on there. But were I to go on a public demonstration against some place serving Impossible meat or Impossible burgers, I'd probably be looking at prison time. Almost guaranteed I'd be looking at prison time. I don't know whether the vegans know that they can get away with this shit without prison time, or whether they're just not fucking punished for it, but I wouldn't do it simply because I'm pretty sure that my objectives do not align with the political elite, and I'm not willing to take that risk because I have a life. I'd rather not go to prison over some fucking bullshit from vegans. Like, if I'm going to prison, it's because there's a fucking body on the ground with my fingerprints on it. I'll just leave it at that.
Not only is that illegal, it doesn't follow the non-aggression principle, which you guys are preaching that you want to follow, and it makes people hate you. People are not going to say, "Oh, hey, these are the vegans. They're the friendly guys, right? They vandalize businesses and say we should kill people." You just sound...
I wonder if that's kind of like what the trans community is after the fucking Harry Potter Legacy bullshit. Like after Hogwarts Legacy, like you think that there's a bunch of people who've decided to dissociate from the trans community because they realize, holy shit, these people are fucking nuts. I mean, to a certain extent, yeah, because now the trans community is starting to say, no, it's right wingers running false flags. Like, nah. We're used to you people acting fucking crazy. Now that shit's public. Now we can see how fucking batshit crazy you people are because of all the shit you'll do in order to get people to boycott a fucking game that is barely associated with the person that you're claiming to dislike in the first place. Oh, jeez.
Psychotic. And that is just fuel for other people who are not vegan. Like a lot of these videos or a lot of these articles, like you'll have a video of some vegans walking into a restaurant and screaming at the people that are in the restaurant for eating meat. Those videos get like 10 million views on Facebook, and people are like, fuck vegans, and these people are so terrible. And in that case, they're right. Those vegans are certainly terrible. I wouldn't do that. In fact, if I were to...
Yeah, but you're not exactly an example. Like, you stopped being vegan. So, eventually you cracked. Eventually you saw that you were being fucking stupid about it. But it's not like your example of a moral person that people want to emulate anyway, Sean. Like, if you were a moral person that people wanted to emulate, I would not be here systematically dissecting your past. Like, these videos right now only exist. This live stream only exists because you are a person who is not respected by people with better morals than you. And quite frankly, better morals than me. I'm not even claiming the fucking moral high ground here. I am just milking this shit for views because, hell, I get more views for this than most of my other live streams. So, Darren, you apart's doing something right. And as long as chat's entertained, why should I give a fuck? I'm trying to do 2 of these things per week, and so far I'm able to keep to that. So, the past you tried to bury is my fodder. And you trying to claim that you got some sort of moral high ground? It's downright fucking laughable.
To have the ability to make everybody vegan, here would be my basic plan. One is to give the arguments for veganism and give the arguments against eating animals. That's going to hit you on a logical level, but of course, if that worked, it would not be the case. I mean, everybody would be vegan at this point. You could just...
There is no logical reason not to eat animals.
Logically convince people. You can't really logically convince people into any diet. You can tell people to stop smoking, but most people are not going to stop smoking if they're real smokers. You can certainly say, well, you're going to get lung cancer and all that stuff, and they'll probably still keep doing it. And so you have to cater. If you're
There are many logical reasons, however, to not be vegan. In fact, I'd say there's more logical reasons to not be vegan than to be vegan. The reason to be vegan is purely emotional. Claiming that there's a logical reason to not be vegan, fucking give it. But given that you are no longer a vegan, Sean, I'm willing to bet you know that there is no logical reason to be a vegan, only an emotional one.
to help change someone's diet, if you're going to change your diet, here a little diet advice that I didn't intend, is you're going to have to make things taste good. And so I've talked to a lot of people who don't care about vegan at all, and I kind of picked their brain a little bit, because this is what you should do, by the way, if you are of that mindset, is, well, what would make you go vegan? And they said, well, if we had fake products, it could be the bio meats where they're trying to laboratory grow meat. I don't think that'll actually work. Or it could be the fake plant-based meats. If those tasted exactly like actual meat and they felt like actual meat, if I couldn't tell the difference between that and actual meat, I'd go vegan. If I couldn't...
Yeah, taste. That's the thing. That's the fucked up part. Okay, taste? No. That's emotion. If there were vegan products that performed the exact same as actual biological meat, okay. Oh, and was equivalently or less expensive. Like if you took the DNA of a cow and you took the proteins from soybeans and you rearranged the proteins from soybeans so that they match the proteins of a cow, and you remade cow meat identical to a cow, but it was all soybean in origin, okay. You could probably... Oh, and it had to be cheaper. Cheaper, specifically. I'm not going to fucking pay more for that shit. You better make it equivalent or cheaper than actual meat. You do that, and there's no loss in performance. There's no loss in the hormones that I'm getting out of it. There's no loss in anything. It is fucking identical to meat in every way except for its place of origin. Okay. Instead, nowadays, we got estrogen-filled salt fucking waste from China. That's what we got. We got fucking salt agricultural waste from China pumped full of estrogen. That's what you fucking got as your substitute. If that's what tastes like real meat for you, no, it doesn't perform the same. It doesn't do the same thing. It's not meat. To the people who just want it to taste like meat, screw you. You don't care about performance. You just want the social approval without giving up anything else. So far as I'm concerned, every vegan who needs their fake meat to taste like meat, fuck, every vegan who needs fake meat to begin with is a fucking hypocrite. Eat your tofu, eat your greens, accept your weakness, and accept that most people don't give a fuck, so shut the hell up. No one cares. At least no one who matters cares. Yeah, you want me to go vegan? You better create a somehow non-animal destructive substitute that matches meat for its performance, which you're not going to get because guess what? Those soybean fields, yeah, they require sacrifice. And they require sacrifice of creatures that are far more endangered than cattle. There is no logical reason to become a vegan.
Tell the difference between the plant-based cheeses and real cheese, I'd go vegan. Plus, it has to be cheaper, or it has to be the same price. So
yeah, again, I guess we agree on this. Cheaper, the same price. I'm not paying fucking $5 a pound extra, or shit, even $1 a pound extra for some fucking vegan meat if it is the exact same performance as regular meat. And that's something that just does not exist these days. Who knows? Maybe by 2030 it will. But it certainly fucking doesn't in 2023.
Until that happens, for me, the battle is just kind of lost. Now, certainly, I've encouraged before people, if you like vegan products, go ahead and buy them, even if you're not intending to be vegan. Or if you're paleo, go ahead and buy some of those vegan cheeses. That really helps. In fact, a lot of help has been garnered from people who are lactose intolerant, people who are paleo, people who are non-dairy people. And there's a lot of that's been thrown into the vegan movement as well because they buy all the vegan cheeses too. In fact, most people I see buying vegan cheeses are not vegan. They're actually non-vegans that are doing so because they don't want to eat dairy or because they can't eat dairy.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of suspicious about the whole people who suddenly can't eat dairy thing. Like, what, were you allergic to your mother's milk? This allergy to dairy does not sound natural. It sounds like people aren't getting proper nutrition. Were I someone with the funding to get a bunch of scientists to do shit, I'd be curious about the funding between feeding your kids baby formula versus breastfeeding them and lactose intolerance in the long term. Because there just seems to be so many lactose intolerant people. It's weird to me as to why this is, but that's a whole other discussion and one I'm not qualified for. So we'll just continue.
For whatever reason. And so that's how I'd make the change. I just make the products that are fake products so good and so unrecognizable and comparable in price to the actual thing that once we get that, and we will get that, we're getting way closer in shorter and shorter amount of times. Like just when I became vegan 4 years ago, you couldn't find any cheese that tasted good. All the cheese that was vegan tasted like shit.
And yet 4 years from now, you've claimed to have not been vegan for a year. So apparently even 3 years of advancement wasn't enough to keep you on the track. I'd be curious as to whether or not you've even made a video addressing this and specifically why. But again, maybe we'll get to that. It'd be something else like, hey, Sean, if you do happen to see this, I'd be curious if you'd make like a video or something explaining it. Because you've gone on for why you're a vegan for a while. Have you made a video on why you're no longer a vegan? Maybe you have. I just haven't checked. Because, quite frankly, I only care about your content so much as it entertains my audience. I have long since stopped giving a fuck what you actually have to say.
Now we've got Miyoko's. Now we've got, what's the other cheese? We've got Honest Stand. We've got Daya has a new flavor, even though the old Daya tastes like crap. And a lot of them are making very, very vast improvements. And then there's some kind of local brands that I won't mention because it won't be relevant to you.
Lost Dragon, look, that's the thing. That sounds like lactose intolerance right there. But lactose intolerance, that seems more like an issue of gut bacteria than it does any sort of genetics. And the only reason that you'd have a problem processing that with gut bacteria is if, well, you don't have the gut bacteria to process it. Where do you get most of your gut bacteria? You get a bunch of it from, your mother, your local environment, like by processing milk at a young age. Like, I'd want to know, is there a correlation between the rise of utilization of baby formula as a supplement for milk from the mother and lactose intolerance in children and adults? I wouldn't be surprised if there is. I also wouldn't be surprised if that study is kind of taboo amongst nutritional scientists.
But it's getting closer, so if that's something you happen to care about, well, I guess there's good news. Outside of that, my argument for veganism is I don't really care that much. I'll let other people do that. I have my own diet for my own reasons, and we'll let people do whatever they want. And if we avoid any sort of disasters, because there's an environmental argument for going vegan, and so if we avoid the environmental disaster by making
How much has this guy spent trying every kind of vegan cheese? Oh god, I don't know how much money he's spent, but given that he apparently has an encyclopedic memory for the quality of each kind of vegan cheese, I'm willing to bet if you went into Whole Foods and looked at the vegan cheese section and categorized every single brand, he's probably tried all of them. I mean, I don't even get the best fucking cheese, but at least I get... I mean, shit, I used to hear that processed cheese was one fucking molecule away from being plastic. How is that not vegan? And it still tastes passable. I mean, I'm sorry, I ain't exactly much of a cheese connoisseur. Like, give me some fucking mozzarella, some cheddar, or some of the bullshit processed. I'm fine with that. Like, I ain't no fucking cheese snob.
fake plant-based foods that taste like actual meat, well then, more power to you. I'm kind of lost on it because of what's happened in the vegan groups. And speaking of that, the last straw for me was I started seeing feminism really, really seeping into the vegan movement, especially...
All cheese is vegan, cows eat grass. I mean, technically, yes. I mean, yes, like... Are you harming the cow when you take its milk? That's the thing. I don't know. I think it would be far more cruel to leave a cow with a swollen udder than it would be to milk it on the regular. I've been in dairy farms. It's not okay. It's not a dangerous process. It's not a harmful process. It's not a torturous process. Okay, vegetarian, I can understand. Don't eat the meat. But vegan for do no harm? No. No. Like, it smells like bullshit. And I would know. I've seen massive piles of bullshit. I've been to enough farms to see a literal, okay, maybe not literal mountain, but at the very least, literal hill of bullshit. I know bullshit when I see it. And this is smelling like a lot of bullshit. The cow has no say. It has no free will. Lost vein. Like, let me put it this way. You know what? The cow does have a will, and the cow does have a say. When you have heard cows crying out in the night to the point that you can't fucking sleep, yeah, you know the cows have a say for when they're in discomfort. They have a say. Yeah, successful, exactly. If a cow doesn't get milked, it hurts the cow. Like, it's painful. It even happens in women. Like women do need to get rid of the excess milk. It hurts. It builds up. It swells. It's painful. Right? Maybe wild cows don't have the same issue, but it's something that needs to be done and something that people without agricultural backgrounds just don't seem to understand. And hey, raw milk, nuked milk, I don't know, maybe that's better. I can't say MTNTXII, I don't know. MTXTX12? 12? I don't know how you pronounce that, honestly, but that's the thing. Raw milk's probably better than the other stuff. I wouldn't know. I'm not exactly a nutritionist expert, but I apparently know more than most vegans about nutrition. So we're almost done. We're almost done.
Around, I think it was like the riots and the Black Lives Matter riots, which were just BLM is just kind of a terrorist group, and those were all violent riots where I don't know how they got away with this. They were doing the same things the vegans were doing. They were looting businesses, they were breaking windows and shit like that, and it was so bad that people had to stand outside of their houses or stand outside of their businesses with rifles so people wouldn't rob them. And Black Lives Matter is supposed to be this wonderful thing, and no, it's just a terrorist group. And those vegans who destroy those people's businesses, or those people are just terrorists. They're not any sort of moral people or moral. They're not any.
Cows need to have their calves to drink milk. To a certain extent, yes, but the calves eventually move on to other food. Like, if the calf moves on to other food before the mother stops giving milk, then you're going to get the swollen problem. And, well, the calves do clearly get enough milk to get on to other food before the milk stops giving. Otherwise, there would be no dairy farm industry to begin with. So, I mean, yes, perhaps in a completely natural world without any human interference that would be the case, but that world no longer exists. The only way you're going to limit the species of cows to those which are adapted to that particular time span is to literally slaughter every single domesticated species of cow. That's a lot of cows. So how many are you willing to kill in the name of ending suffering? I mean, that's veganism in a nutshell. If they got everything they wanted, it would just end up in mass slaughter and starvation for the animals they say they're trying to protect.
They don't have any sort of moral high ground like the left always claims. Is veganism is primarily moving to the left. And so the last straw for me is that this feminist, who is quite noticeably overweight and quite noticeably unattractive as a typical feminist may be, posted in the group, one of the groups I was in.
For no reason. Say we milk women instead of cows, it would be more humanitarian. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree, but, we'd have to get more women having kids for them to actually get to the point where they'd produce milk in the first place. We'd have to solve the birth rate problem before we even consider that, and the amount of human babies we need to be popping out to make that a replacement industry for cows. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure you would need over 10 human females to match the production of one female cow. If milking humans was any sort of efficient, then we do it. But hey, maybe we could market human breast milk to the vegans since they only seem to care about non-humans.
Well, you know all men are rapists, and you know vegan men are rapists too. And I said, I'm done. That was it. There was an argument in that thread that lasted for probably a couple hours, and I said, goodbye. And so I made sure I went, because it wasn't just this vegan group, it was every single vegan group I was in that was promoting this narrative, promoting the narrative of violence that was, it's like, we're not going to follow our own principles, we're only going to follow our principles when it's convenient. And of course, veganism is mostly a female movement, so female morality is only around when it's convenient. So I can believe this here, but when it's not convenient for me to believe that, I can just move over here and believe something else. And so that's rampant in there. So I went and I threw myself out of every single vegan group I was in. I'm unsubscribed from.
Derek, do you think a lot of people keep goats for milk instead of cows all over the world? Is it because they're smaller and easier to handle and take care of, especially for just a family? Yes, cows do require typically a large amount of feed and a large amount of space. So for a smaller unit of farming, yes, goats are absolutely easier, and they'll eat a much wider variety of stuff from what, admittedly, little I understand about goat farming. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Goats are kept when you don't have the large-scale agriculture required to sustain a farm of cows. Cows eat a lot. You require a lot of farmland and a lot of pasture to keep cows regularly fed. It's not cheap, but we'll continue. Oh, successful. It's over, Anakin. I have the moral high ground. I'll try to remember that one. That's actually pretty good. But let's wrap this up.
Most of the vegan channels that I was in, or that I was a part of, because I don't want to give these people support. So that's
Actually, Derek, not actually. Funny thing I've heard. This was a video a while ago, but they were actually using cattle to make sure that grasslands were properly fertilized to undo the desertification of the Sahara Desert. So herds of cattle can actually be beneficial to the environment in terms of biodiversity and increasing of green spaces and the reduction of, well, encroaching desert. So that's the thing. Like, human-controlled migratory cows, good for the environment. Good luck telling the vegans that. But apparently true from what I understand.
why I don't associate myself with any sort of vegan groups or most vegan people. Actually, it's not like every single vegan's bad. Certainly, there are vegans like me, so there has to be some good ones out there. But my big argument for because I became vegan because of health, and maybe secondary from the environment, and maybe tertiary, third, because of animals. And my argument for animals is that the animal factory farms look a lot like death camps. They look a lot like the communist prisons. They look a lot like the Nazi camps or concentration camps. And if we treat animals like that, then that brings us one step closer to treating humans like that. So I want to be as far removed from that as possible. But the problem is that a lot of people that are on the side of veganism are preaching the same exact arguments that led to those concentration camps.
So because factory farms look like concentration camps, you need to be vegan in order to keep the morality of humanity more intact. Okay, what about all the farms that aren't like concentration camps? What about those? Perhaps you could look into what creates factory farms and maybe try to attack those instead of attacking every farming industry, regardless of how much it might resemble bad mustache man's regime. But no, that's too complicated for a bunch of people who are already mentally ill due to protein deficiency.
And I just don't put up with that. So let's call that a video. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're new and you like the video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. And if you have anything else to say, you can throw that in the comment section below, and I'll take a look at that. So thanks for watching. See you next time.
Yeah, well, since you deleted this video, there is no like button, there is no subscribe button, there is no comment section. There's only going to be that on this video reviewing your video. Because were it not for the MGTOW archive, this shit would have deleted it, disappeared into the ether. But holy crap, that took way longer than I thought it would. But goddamn, I apparently have a beef with vegans, as it were. I have a lot of farm experience, so yeah, to hear a bunch of this fucking bullshit argument, I guess it triggers me. Hashtag triggered. Ree. All right, well, we've managed to make it within the 3-hour mark, so we're going to go to our usual 3 hours. But we will take a brief intermission and then switch over into chatting mode. So if you guys have any questions, comments, heck, criticisms, I'm open to that. Start posting them in the chat, and I'll get back to it after I drain the main vein and grab another ale. Be right back, guys. See you in a few. All right, gents. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple things in here. All right. Yeah, Kozak, this actual words or Gray's AI scripts. Now, these are all his videos that he has straight up deleted in the past. Like, I would not have the time to script out this many of his videos to then just roast them. Like that was part of why I really wanted to make that one AI thing saying all of his titles, because I wanted to be like, look, there is no way that I was able to invent all of these titles and all of these thumbnails fast enough in order to make this entirely fake. No, every single one of these videos has been archived on the MGTOW Mirror site. He published all of these and then later deleted them. Mao, please bring Sir Yeetus on. I was supposed to stream with Yeetus earlier, had the thumbnail and everything, but he hasn't gotten back to me on getting that going, so I assume something's up. Otherwise, I would have done that a couple hours ago. But can't believe you used to like him, Gosak. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'll admit, I was interested in his content a while back as well. I think you'll find a lot of people are. It's unfortunate that this is how things turned out. That he like essentially turned his back on the very people who supported him early on. It's not fun. It's not particularly unusual. We've seen that happen with a lot of MGTOW content creators, but well, y'all seem to enjoy me taking him apart, so I'm gonna make some lemonade out of this lemon, as it were. Short break music would be awesome. You know, I don't object to that. I agree that short break music would be good, but I'd either need to find some royalty free stuff or make some fresh stuff. And, well, getting this VTuber model up and running with the appropriate interface, that's been the project for today. But for the rest of the weekend, aside from tomorrow's Elden Ring stream, I will be working on No Eggs Ghost Mix. So that's the next project, but I'll see if I can squeeze in some sort of lo-fi soundtrack just to keep the short break a little more occupied, because it is a little bit quiet, I'll admit. Let's see, I just wanted to say how excited to see the AI voice art take off. Want a video of Dagoth or Master Chief and Alduin playing a game of D&D and hitting the gym. I'll try to remember that. Honestly, there's so many different AI project ideas that come up every day. A bunch of that stuff slips past me. But, I guess, I have Dagoth Alduin shouldn't be that difficult to recreate. I'll see what I can do about recreating Master Chief's voice. We'll see whether or not it should be possible. I'm sure someone's got a compilation somewhere. And yeah, SE MGTOW Mirror project for the win. Like 100%. The MGTOW Mirror project it's just an excellent project. Game OSTs usually aren't claimed. I'm paranoid about that. I did a Sea of Thieves stream a while back, and just playing one of the in-game songs on the instrument without saying anything over top of it for 1 minute, that was enough to get a copyright claim. So I avoid all sorts of potentially copyright claimable music. I'd much rather just make my own music with AI, add my own instruments, do my own mixing, and then use that. The song that I use for the intro and the outro, I purchased from Beatmancer specifically for intro and outro music. So, just personally, unless I have outright claims to it, I don't use it. I'm just not going to mess with YouTube. I don't expect any leniency. Creator free elevated music, it's an idea. I mean, I'm a bit of a stickler for wanting some sort of creative stuff, but if I found some royalty free music that I was like, okay, yeah, this is good, I could work with this, but I've dipped my toes into music creation, so I'd much rather use an original track rather than grab something royalty free. Get in touch with Jeffrey Paul. Yeet's getting some snow right now. I have no idea who Jeffrey Paul is, SCE. Send me a link in Discord. I have no clue who that is, but heck, honestly, if they come with your recommendation, then that's probably pretty good as far as I'm concerned. There is a Dagoth, Alduin, Chief, Mirakdi, and DVD. I think the AI voices memes have taken off like crazy, and heck, I'm happy to see it. Avatar's eyes would like have been damaged from seeing Think Before You Sleep stuff. Honestly, yeah, no, Locust really got the whole fucking haunted sees some shit look. Yeah, actually, Citrus, given how you did some of the other stuff for Hammerhand's No Eggs, I'm probably going to talk to you about doing the music video for No Eggs if I can actually get the soundtrack going. So maybe start thinking on that because I'm going to aim for it. How it feels to DM for strangers. Love watching the AI president memes. Yeah, they're good. And credit to the script writers for putting that together, and then the guys for mixing it up so it actually sounds natural. I don't know how they got it. I don't know whether they took some IRL footage and then just replaced it with the president voices, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Credit where credit is due. Oh, Jeffrey Paul does the intros for Sergeant Prop and Blake. Ah, well, you know what? Wouldn't mind supporting Red Pill musicians. I'm totally down for that. Yeah, SCE. Yeah, if you'll write an introduction to him, then absolutely, absolutely love to work with Red Pill musicians to support them. Because, like, heck, I'll admit, kind of short on time these days. Got so many projects on the go, so if I can offload it to someone else and just shoot some money their way as compensation, that works for me. Let's see, Dr. Phoenix series with AI deep fakes like Biden and Skyrim series. I haven't seen those again. I genuinely don't have enough time to catch a lot of all the current stuff. But what little I have seen, I do approve of. Let's see. So, I think I'm. Let's see. Copywriters, copyright for yours or some such. All synthwave, white bat audio. Let's see if I can grab that. Get that. Yeah, royalty-free music. All right. Well, I'll look into it. I'll look into it. I am a fan of the synthwave stuff. All right, Grinch. Well, welcome back, but we're just hitting the 3-hour mark now, so first I'm gonna get the link to Chronic's upcoming stream. Then I'm gonna get the lot of you to tune into that. Not playing through, so as I haven't set the forward link, here's Chronic stream coming up in what, hour and a half? Yeah, all right. I'm gonna play the outro music. Thank you all for stopping by. We should try to get those segments uploaded by tomorrow. And so yeah, this has been the the debut of my VTuber model. Expect more advances in stream quality as things keep going. But shout out to Black Locust for making it. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Warband.